okay, forgive the quality of the recording, the microphone being used, etc. I'm currently without my gaming PC. I saw this, and am I going mad? Side-scrolling beat 'em up Terrifier, the arcade game. Terrifier, of course, being a series of movies starring a character named Art the Clown. I haven't seen them, but I've got the first two on Blu-ray. I was meaning to check them out at some point. Due out in 2025, good old Sal Romano, macaroni chef, is telling us about this. But here's the weird thing: AI generated. Look, that looks AI generated as fuck. The window just looks off. Something about that. It's hard to pinpoint, but something about that looks very, very AI, and maybe it's just a very good illustration, but something about that looks AI. You scroll down a little bit. Publisher Selector Play, who I've never heard of. Revelo, who I've never heard of. What have Selector Play done? Let's have a look. Selector Play. Antro, not heard of it. Oh, they've done a Tuhu game. Okay. Luto. Morcul. Okay, stuff I've never heard of. Generally, that checks out. Because here's the thing: if you scroll down and look at this game, step into ignore the screenshot. Okay. Step into a world of pixelated carnage with Terrifier, the arcade game, a gory retro-fighting beat-em-up packed with intense action, dark humor, and tons of fun. Inspired by classic beat-em-up games of the 80s and 90s. Is it, though? Is it inspired by classic beat-em-up games of the 80s and 90s? Or is it inspired by classic beat-em-up game of 2014, or whenever it was the Scott Pilgrim game came out? I mean, look at this. Look at this. Backgrounds, Scott Pilgrim. That oil can, Scott Pilgrim. That enemy, Scott Pilgrim. This background, definitely those trees, Scott Pilgrim. Definitely. There's a stage in Scott Pilgrim. That arcade, 100% Scott Pilgrim. That enemy looks like maybe one of the bouncer, or that character looks like maybe one of the bouncers out of the arcade in Scott Pilgrim. Two shots of the same place. Again, first area. This is when you're on the way to the show in the very first level of Scott Pilgrim. The level that plays Another Winter by Anna Managuchi. So that's our screenshots. Clearly using a lot of assets from the Scott Pilgrim game, which I'm pretty sure is owned by Universal. So somebody's about to get sued. Retro-inspired carnage. Become Art the Clown, the sinister and unpredictable villain from the Terrifier series, as you unleash chaos across a variety of locations. This is how they explain why they're ripping off the Scott Pilgrim game. Each stage is a movie set where a film about art is being produced, but you're here to disrupt the show. A movie set. That's clever. Because they are movie sets. Because the Scott Pilgrim game was based on a movie. In fact, one of the levels in the Scott Pilgrim game is a movie set. But how are they going to get away with this, is what I want to know. How are they not getting sued for intense theft? Key features. Gorgeous pixel art and animation, ripped off from that Robertson guy who did all the artwork for the Scott Pilgrim game. The game captures the essence of the Terrifier films with bright, cartoonish pixel art and fluid animations. I'm sorry, is the essence of the Terrifier films bright and cartoony? I haven't seen them yet, but I'm pretty sure they're pornography, not bright and cartoony. Multiplayer mayhem. Team up with up to 4 players for a chaotic local co-op experience. Work together or against each other in various game modes. This screams sprite hack. Like sprite hack in the good old-fashioned arcade days of sprite hack. Because that describes Scott Pilgrim's gameplay to a T. And Scott Pilgrim, most of its game assets, that game is mostly made in Flash, right? Did they just replace the assets and go, okay, done? They could have done a better job if so, because it's blatantly obvious what's going on here. Sorry, that's my alarm telling me to get up. I have Woe I Knee by Beat Crusaders as my alarm clock. It's very effective at getting me up in the morning. Bloody arsenal of weapons. From chainsaws to cleavers, pick up a variety of weapons to turn your enemies into bloody pulp. A variety of weapons. That's a gameplay feature. That tells us nothing. Diverse stages and boss battles. Travel through multiple stages, each with different paths to explore and enemies to defeat. Prepare yourself for intense boss battles that will test your skills. If boss battle number 1 is against a guy who can make demons appear and fly around him, it's just going to be even more blatant. Chiptune soundtrack. So are they not replacing Anamanaguchi? How does anybody get away with this? Is what I want to know. In this day and age. Over-the-top attacks and finishes. Enjoy hilarious and gory attacks that make the fight as entertaining as it is brutal. Now, this actually sounds like something that might be new. Because there is that one screenshot up the top where there is a blood effect on screen. And I don't remember there being, like, on-screen effects in the Scott Pilgrim game, so... Multiple game modes with 6 different game modes. Whether you're looking for a quick beat-em-up session or an extended challenge, there's a mode that fits your style. Just admit there's a story mode. Let's watch this trailer. Yeah, Revelo I've never heard of, and Select a Play I've never heard of, which is a good sign. Nice animated cutscene. So this has some production value, just by the looks of things, not in the actual game. Even the animations, like, are really... No, I wouldn't call it a sprite hack, because the gameplay definitely looks slower. I don't think that's a sprite hack. Oh, look at our suggested on a fresh browser. She-Hulk actress the Kingmaker's gameplay. 15 perfect 10 out of 10 games. Is that Last of Us 2? I'm not taking that list seriously. Yeah, I mean, obviously come to your own conclusions about these things, but this looks a lot like the Scott Pilgrim game, and I'm just sitting here thinking, if they have permission to do this, which I highly doubt, if they have permission to do this, how does one get permission to do this? Anyway, woke up, saw that, thought it was wild, thought I'd make a video about it. That's it. Unfortunately, don't have the tools here to stitch on the classic ending and the classic opening of OpinionatedM8, so you're just going to have to imagine them in your mind. But that's just my opinion. What's yours?